got a question for the panel. What's the most influential game in your life and why? Let's start at the top. So,
We know Wrangler's
frequency,
answer.
tell us why Metroid.
Yeah, why Metroid Wrangler?
Why Metroid? What? Sorry, I was reading the chat. I missed the question.
Yeah,
Have a
go
good
read
night,
the chat.
music.
Have a
Oh,
good night,
good.
Everly.
The question is,
Don't read the
what-
chat. They just distract you.
They're good at it, though.
what's the most influential game in your life and why? Which we assume is Metroid.
Yeah, because that's the one I had the most fun playing. In fact, when I was playing as a little kid, I used to sit there. I had two favorite games, Double Dragon and Metroid. And I
Classic.
used to sit there and imagine, what if I could think up a game and make it? How could I combine those two? I wanted to pretty much make a Metroidvania that was a beat 'em up.
Wow.
Metroid is your Korra.
Pretty much.
Somebody say
And-
Korra?
The Legend of Korra.
The Legend of Horror. Get this fucking.
Wasn't that an Explorer?
Korra the Explorer? Yeah.
There was a fucking funny video that had the horror of the Explorer.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Oh, God.
Billy Bob, your volume's way down.
It's probably because I ain't got my mic near me.
You didn't have to tell him that.
I slipped.
Did you guys ever play Chrono Trigger?
I saw the story and watched some reviews, but I couldn't get into it. It looks real great, though.
All right, Maji, the question's now on you.
Me?
Yeah, we're going through the entire chat. It's your turn. You're next.
I actually like the Elder Scrolls series. I've been playing that since Oblivion, so about 20 years.
Wow, Oblivion. I started on Morrowind myself.
I didn't have an Xbox.
Right on. How about you, Read out production?
Well, I didn't play many video games, but the Portal games, man, those were a
Really?
blast.
Why
Yeah.
those exactly?
I always liked the backstory of Aperture Science. I was always so interested, especially with Portal 2, when we go into the bottom of the laboratories and learn the backstory of Kate
Yeah.
Johnson.
Hilarious
Some of
writing. That's some of the best dialogue in a video game. It's so good.
And it was engaging doing the puzzles.
No,
Is that the game where you shoot two spots and you got
Yep.
you have to put up two in order to make a transition?
Yep.
the music's all angry
Yeah.
and trippy too? I like. Yeah, no, that's up
And the plot of the whole second game is what happens when a moron has power.
there.
Oh,
It's great. Great
A-
performance. Good as
A
name.
moron designed to be a moron.
that's moron designed to be a moron. All right. How about you,
Yeah.
Black Knight?
Ooh, that's a hard one. But
Yeah, the
if
inspiration.
I must pick, probably the most influential would be XCOM, and I'm talking
Ooh.
about like the first.
Oh wow, yeah.
The Microprose game. The first one and the second one. First one is UFO XCOM Enemy Unknown, and the second one is Terror from the Deep, which is basically a reskinned copy of the first one, but with like underwater biome and additional story. So yeah, it's probably one of the quintessential squad-based strategy-based building games.
I
And,
played the remake of XCOM. Pretty great.
yeah, but the original was hardcore to the extreme.
Not bad.
Yeah, it was badass. I mean, the aliens would just steamroll over you at a certain point, and you'll just land on a mission and die in the first turn. You'll just
You
die.
lose all your men.
Yeah, they'll just telepathically control you and do all sorts of nasty stuff. with
Yeah,
your
if
own
anybody's into tactics, you got to check out XCOM. That's like quintessential tactics.
It's
game.
insane. It's
Yeah,
it's
it's
okay.
No, I'm not familiar with that game at all. What console did it come on?
I know it's on PC.
PC. I think it's on Xbox. I know it's on Xbox. I
Yeah.
swear I've seen it on the Game
Yeah, I
Pass
have it on
Xbox.
PC.
I played the
on
hell
PC
out
for
of
sure.
the latest release. I think the latest release came out like 8 years ago, but it was freaking great.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
That's
XCOM
it's
2.
okay.
Hmm. Great game.
It's okay, but the original game is still better.
Yeah, it always is. The ones back in the day. How about you, Raven?
Pong. I'm joking.
It's just the nostalgia of hearing that ball hit that.
Now on the physical side of things, hooking that up as a little kid and trying to figure that all out, that was definitely something. But I've played a lot of Kerbal Space Program. But part of that also came from I honestly do not remember the name of it on Nintendo system, but there's been a couple of other games that were similar since then, where it's it's a random star map and stuff, and you basically spread a civilization across space. I think the one I ended up getting later that I think was on DOS was called Ascension or something.
Way before my time.
But it's been a while since I've even found that or found anything very similar to that. I mean, there's been a couple of other ones that kind of do something similar, but in different ways and different spins on things and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The Kerbal Space Program has to be one of the ones that I've like wasted a ton of time on. Like only about 860 hours worth.
Wow. So you've been exploring space.
Yeah.
What's out there?
Exploding Kerbals.
Sounds safer than social media.
Oh,
Yeah.
Not trying to cancel you in space.
True.
I know, right?
Yeah. As for me, I think my most influential game is probably like a closer release than I think it would be. So, anybody ever played The Evil Within 2?
No, but
Yeah, almost
I
nobody
know
has
what
ever played that one. I get it's like something people would kind of know when it released because the
I
first
remember when they were
one-
hyping the first one, and
Yeah, the
I
first one was
played
a
some of the
giant
first
letdown.
one, and I didn't like it, so I never picked up the
Yeah,
second one.
that's what everybody says. The second one is so badass of a game. It's
It's on Game Pass, I think.
Yeah,
Mhm.
give it a try if you're into Resident Evil-esque games. It's essentially the best way I can put it is Resident Evil meets the Matrix. And what was super interesting about that one is it's really just like I shouldn't say it's a lot of things, but the story behind it is just a character exploration of your primary hero, and it eventually just tells you straight up. It's like I don't even want to give it away, but it's essentially all about self-forgiveness. It's a video game with a lot of demented shit around it, and it was just a really big punctuation of story for me. It's like, oh shit, that's a lot of story wrapped up in all this visualization stuff, and it just blew me away.
So
So
it's a
I
lot like
think-
Silent Hill.
It definitely has a lot of Silent Hill vibes, but it's different enough. Check it out, Billy Bob. You'll definitely love it. It makes up for all the stuff in the first game. But Trippy Soul, we down to you.
So I asked if you guys played Chrono Trigger earlier. I'd say that's like my favorite game, but it's not the most influential to me. The thing that influenced me the most was Earthbound. Ever hear of Earthbound?
I heard of it, but I never played it.
No.
For me.
Yeah. So Earthbound, I got like when I was like 13 on a SNES emulator. It's like when emulators came off, and I discovered ROMs. I could play all these old games again. I discovered Earthbound, and it's a it was not like allowed on the Nintendo store because it uses sound clips from Monty Python or something like that TV show, and it references Mr. T. There's a Mr. T clear type character, and there's a lot of pop culture references inside this game that were clear violations of licenses. But it was
Those are the best
the
pop
90s.
culture references.
They didn't know it. And now they're all about it with the internet and stuff like that. So it never got released. Now it's finally on the I have it on my DS, my 3DS, because it's on the store now. and it's like $10 still. That's like they still get a lot of money out of this thing. But the premise is that you're a psychic boy, like this little 10-year-old psychic boy, and you start out in a town called Onett, like Onett, and you're single, like right there. You're player one, whatever. And the premise is aliens are coming down, and you have to stop their like invasion. And the way you get told is a bee from the future like lands in an asteroid and a meteor, and you go discover it, and it joins you and warns you about it. It says you're like the only one that can do it. They went there to find you, and you eventually make your way down to Tucson, Twosson, is the next town, and you meet your next character, and you go to Threed is the next town, and you get your third character. Forsyth, you get your fourth character, and then all the design is very colorful. The fights, it's an RPG at the heart of it all, with psychic powers and stuff like that. I can't really quantify exactly why it influenced me so much. It was just like a great story, and I really got into it, and it might have been at that age where I could really appreciate a good story. And there's a part in the game actually where you're halfway through the game, and there's a coffee cup, and you ask if you want to rest and drink the coffee. And when you do it, it goes to this whole other cutscene of music playing and like some trippy visuals, and text come up, and it starts talking about like your progress so far, and like how much stronger you are now. Like it makes you reflect on your own travel so far before you continue playing the game. And it's like a huge pause. It's like a whole 5-minute like thing, and you're asking a kid to like pause his game for 5 minutes to reflect on what he's done so far. So it's definitely a head trip. Most likely why it influenced me so much.
And that explains so much at this point.
The origins of Trippy.
Earthbound,
A
great game.
Don't you have to
highly
kill a
recommend it.
fetus at the end of that one?
Yes, it's the negative image. It looks like a fetus, but you have to like
Yeah.
trick your eyes to see it.
I've
That's
seen that. I've seen that.
Yeah,
photo.
it doesn't look like it. It's just this monstrous thing. But if you look at the gaps in between, if you actually like look for it, you'll see it.
Yeah,
And
that's
I gotta look
crazy.
into like the metaphors and stuff. Like I'm sure I haven't played it in a while, so I gotta go back and touch it.
It's
sure
the
a lot of
Japanese.
Right? A lot of these games, I'm sure, are all chock full of metaphors.
Oh yeah,
How about you, Herman? How has games influenced your life? Which title?
Actually, I grew up in the age of Pong, literally.
Oh,
yeah.
So, but I will tell you this: serious.
I thought it was gonna be rock skipping.
I know. I was gonna say you're out there gonna play with stick or like.
The first game that got me really interested was a game called Tank Battle, where you had like dual sets of sticks, and you shot your tank around. Atari had it when it first.
Yeah, I
Atari had it
remember
when it
that.
first came out. But there was a predecessor to that, and that actually had dual sticks. And I had one of those console games. That was just so cool. And then Adventure came out on the Atari 2600.
I had
And
that too.
Yeah, and I played
Okay,
that
yeah.
thing till it. Well, I actually still got it.
Are we
Still
the same
working.
age, Herman?
I'm 57.
Oh no, you get a decade on me.
Yeah. So
Hey,
No wonder
Herman,
you're so much
Feel
smarter than
old.
me.
I
when
feel
this
old.
stream is over, can you teach me how to write in stone?
well, first you got to buy the right chisels, and
Oh,
it's usually a harder stone.
So, I thought it was to be like soapstone or limestone, so it's
No,
harder.
and a big rock to hit it with.
Yeah, I would help you out with that, but I'm a little too young for that. I only know how to write in the snow.
But yeah, but the other one I really liked was it was the first PC Neverwinter Nights game. And that was the turn-based Dungeons and Dragons old style. And the cool thing is that that still is still running, and there's still a community for it. And they have like a lot of these. You can go find like the old modules and play them either
wow.
individually, or you can go play a campaign on a server. So, but I mean, it's the. And there's another one in Neverwinter Nights 2 that came out. And this is different from the MMO, which is also called Neverwinter Nights. So, but I'm a fantasy nerd,
Yeah.
kind of.
I
anyways.
love it when
No,
those
never guessed.
I love it when those old school online games you've played as a kid are still out there in one way or another. That
Yeah.
actually happened to me like less than a week ago, and it was very nostalgic.
And the last one was a game called Frontline, and that was an arcade game back in the day. It was like this little soldier that you had to navigate through a battlefield, and basically it was you had a knob that you turned, and at times you'd like get to a tank and you could jump into the tank, and now you were moving this tank around, and that was freaking cool. I mean, that was back in that day was freaking cool. And then Doom came out. You know, they actually Wolfenstein 3D was the predecessor to that, which I had all those games. I had
Wolfenstein.
Well, the Wolfenstein all the way to the last one is Wolfenstein 3D. And I will say this: those are almost sort of gothic horror. I mean, even the older ones, they're very sort of gothic horror. And then after that, Doom came out. So, and I actually got to meet the one of the creators for it, a guy named John Carmack. Matter of fact, I got to meet him last year. So,
Oh wow.
yeah.
How was that?
I felt like an intellectual ant. He's also the guy who created Oculus, the thing for that Facebook has, the 3D viewer.
Was he that guy on Rogan?
Probably, I don't know. He was kind of thin, sort of very geeky looking.
Yeah, probably him. He had somebody on there that's working on the Doom and all that. He did that video game thing you could do these days.
So you youngsters do these days?
Yeah.
So
yeah. How about you, Billy Bob?
GTA, it's pretty obvious.
Is it most influential game? Which one?
Probably San Andreas, even though I like 3 and Vice City.
Vice City, I have a special heart. That one has got a special place in my heart, that Vice City game.
Rip Ray Liotta.
Yeah, you're right.
His last movie was Cocaine Bear, wasn't it? The
Yeah.
last one he filmed.
And it beat Ant-Man and the Wasp.
That's not hard.
But it's
Right
funny.
now,
His last movie was something that was a one-off that took down what was intended to be a true blockbuster.
Oh, what was that black actor dude who just died as well?
The guy who played Broyles in Fringe.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Something.
Bald one.
Yeah.
I think his last project was Resident Evil, wasn't it?
Oh,
I think so.
Okay, I know who you're talking about.
Or was it
Yeah.
John Wick 4? I haven't watched it. Is he in it?
it would have been John
Maybe.
Wick 4.
Oh, we're talking about Lance
He's
Reddick.
He's a main
Yeah,
character in
Lance
John Wick series. I mean, he's like,
Yeah.
well, not main
He's
character,
definitely
but
a
he's there.
side character.
Present.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any of the John Wick movie. Actually, I saw the first one. I haven't seen any of the ones after that. But I remember watching Fringe. I will give J.J. Abrams this. I give him a lot of crap, so I got to give him credit for all but the final season of Fringe. I enjoyed that show a lot. But he played Broyles in there. He was the director, and the dude had an awesome screen presence. And I'm surprised we didn't see him in a lot more stuff.
Ghost of Mars.
I had almost completely forgotten about Neverwinter Nights and such. I think, was that the one that you could set up your own server and do stuff with?
Yeah, you can do that
Okay.
too.
Yeah, I had set up a server and done some stuff with a couple of friends. People submitted module sections for it and stuff. And we crashed the server a couple times with too many people on it.
Nice.
Yeah, it's the game. The game is so. I mean, it's as Herman said. Like this game is old, and that there are still a lot of people playing it online. A lot of people.
Yeah, I think I had the expansion so we could save stuff to the database and stuff. Wow, I had almost completely forgotten about that.
Yeah, I used to
Make
play
it rain
nothing
in the
but
chat.
I used to play nothing but online games back then. Well, I still do, but I used to play more back then.
I don't play that many anymore. Online games.
I was never good enough to be online.
That's because you're a
Right.
woman.
I
Hey.
never had. I never played online games really at all, unless you count. This was years ago when I logged on to CompuServe with my 600 baud modem with the program called PC Link to play British Legends, an all
Hold up.
text MMO.
Nice.
Frequency, you are gonna play Brawlhalla with us.
Sure.